So let's talk about another big topic. It was on exam 1, and now it's going to be on exam 3, and it's going to be on exam 4, and it's going to be on the final exam. So this is the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system, the RAAS. I'm not going to write that out because you simply have to know that at this point. So let's remember how this works. You've got this stuff in your blood that's there right now called angiotensinogen. Okay, so remember it ends in ogen, it's a zymogen. This is in your blood. So this is in the blood right now. Okay? There right now, but it's not doing anything. It's in an inactive form. So what happens here, your body has a drop in blood pressure, all right? That is detected by these guys in the kidneys called JG cells, juxtaglomerular cells. I'm not going to write that out because you have to know that by now. So these JG cells, juxtaglomerular cells, they secrete a hormone called renin. And they do this in response to a drop in blood pressure. All right, so do you get it? This whole thing, everything we see here, the entire RAAS is driven by a drop in blood pressure. JG cells detect it, release renin. That causes angiotensinogen to turn into angiotensin 1. Which, as it turns out, angiotensin 1 doesn't really do anything. All right? But it's a necessary intermediate because eventually we get the blood now, all right? This is blood. Remember, it goes every place in your body within 1 minute. So eventually it's going to get to the lungs. And the lungs are going to release an enzyme. I don't like that arrow. Bad arrow. They release an enzyme called ACE. Angiotensin converting enzyme. And I'm not going to write that out. You have to know that. Angiotensin converting enzyme. Because it's an enzyme that converts angiotensin 1 into angiotensin 2. And angiotensin 2 gets sparkles because that's how big of a deal angiotensin 2 is. Oh my God. Angiotensin 2, I don't want that sparkle. Let's make it more like that. Okay. So, angiotensin 2, what does it do? Oh my God, angiotensin 2 does a series of really incredibly important things that are going to fix this problem, all right? So, angiotensin 2, what does it do? So, first thing, it goes to the hypothalamus when it passes through. It's in the blood. Passes through the hypothalamus, it stimulates thirst. Okay? So, what happens when you get thirsty? Well, you drink water. And remember, in terms of the factors that affect blood pressure, H2O. In terms of factors that affect mean arterial blood pressure, what's going to happen here? If we increase H2, we're going to increase our stroke volume. And what is that going to do when we increase our stroke volume? We have just raised our mean arterial blood pressure. So notice the whole thing started a drop in blood pressure, so it triggered the entire cascade of events. And that cascade of events led to a raising of blood pressure, okay? See? Damn, huh? So, and then, what else is it going to do? Yeah, 2 number 1s. That's, yeah, sure. Here it's going to go, it is angiotensin 2 itself is a powerful vasoconstrictor. Powerful, is powerful. Most books say that, and that cracks me up so much that I just repeat it because I think it's hilarious. It's a powerful vasoconstrictor. And what does a powerful vasoconstrictor do? Well, it, remember that increases peripheral vascular resistance by decreasing blood vessel diameter. And when you decrease peripheral vascular resistance, what do you end up doing? You raise mean arterial blood pressure. And so, Look, once again, we have found two solutions to the problem. The RAS so far has solved the problem in two ways, and it's going to solve it in two more as well. Let's take a look at this one. So, it's going to go to the posterior pituitary. And we do now have to know this. Up until this time, whenever I covered pituitary, I would say you just have to know pituitary. It won't be till later that we have to know it's posterior. Well, it's later. This is where we now have to know it's posterior. So posterior pituitary releases a hormone called ADH, anti-diuretic hormone. Anti-diuretic hormone, diuresis means peeing. So anti-diuretic hormone means you don't pee as much. You pull water back from the urine, all right? And if you pull water back from the urine, you keep it in the body, that keeps the stroke volume higher. And what does that end up doing? That raises the blood pressure again, all right? A third solution to the problem. And then finally, it goes to the adrenal cortex. Now you're going to have to know later which part of the adrenal cortex. We're going to learn salt, sugar, sex. Goes to the adrenal cortex. And in the adrenal cortex, it causes the release of our old buddy, aldosterone. Aldosterone. One of the Dosterone brothers, Al and his brother Benny. Al and Benny Dosterone. They used to run and sell drugs on the south side. Aldosterone. So what does aldosterone do? Aldosterone is the save sodium hormone. It causes you to save sodium. Well, remember, what do we know about water and solutes? When you save sodium, you end up saving water. And what do you do as a result of saving water? Oh my God. Our fourth solution. We now have raised blood pressure in 4 different ways. So that's the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system. Let's run through it one last time. Angiotensinogen, one of those plasma proteins made by the liver, you know, like fibrinogen and albumin and the globulins, you know. So angiotensinogen out there in the blood, just floating along. But if there's a drop in blood pressure, these juxtaglomerular cells in the kidney detect it, release renin. That converts angiotensinogen to AT1, an intermediate that doesn't do much really on its own. Passes through the lungs, angiotensin converting enzyme turns it into AT2, and this now the magic AT2 goes to the hypothalamus, causes you to be thirsty, you drink water, stroke volume goes up, blood pressure goes up. Powerful vasoconstrictor is what I really meant right there. It is a powerful constrictor. It makes it sound like, you know, like a king snake or something. Powerful vasoconstrictor. So that, again, causes blood vessels to clamp down, peripheral vascular resistance goes up, blood pressure goes up. Posterior pituitary releases ADH, travels through the blood. This works on the tubules of the kidney, and something this diagram doesn't include that you do have to know. It's covered in the PowerPoints. How does ADH work? It causes the expression of more aquaporin channels in the nephron tubules. Aquaporins are channels for water. It allows us to withhold that water, okay? But how did aldosterone work? Remember, aldosterone works on sodium-potassium pumps. Aldosterone causes you to make more sodium-potassium pumps in the nephron tubules, therefore you pump sodium back in. But remember then, what are you pumping out? Potassium. So hyperaldosteronism, for example, could lead to hypokalemia. Do you think about that? Yeah. So there you go. There's the whole renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system. This is going to be on your 3rd exam, it'll be on your 4th exam, it'll be on the final exam. So learn it now. Just, you know, don't ever make a mistake again on this. Just like imprint this, get this tattooed. Like in Memento, you know, it has it tattooed on his chest. I don't know, maybe. It's your body.